Okay, exercise 2J is about solving simultaneous equations using the elimination method. So we need to know we can multiply an equation by a constant. Remember, a constant, that just means a number with no letters. We can add or subtract whole equations to eliminate a variable. So let me show you what that means. Let's look at example number 1. So example 1 is 5x plus 2y equals 8, 3x plus 2y equals 4. Now the thing to notice here is they both have 2y. And we were just told that we can add or subtract whole equations to eliminate a variable. If we subtract these, we can get rid of the 2y. So I'm going to subtract the second equation from the first. So let's see what we get. So I've got 5x minus 3x gives us 2x. 2y minus 2y is 0, so I won't write anything there. And 8 minus 4 is 4. Let's divide by the 2. So we can see that x equals 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And now remember, we do need to find the y value. So let's put x equals 2 back into one of our original equations. I'm going to go for the one with the smaller numbers. So 3x, so 3 times 2, plus 2y equals 4. 3 times 2 is 6. Let's minus the 6 off each side. So 2y equals negative 2. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Divide by the 2. Y equals negative 2 divided by 2 is minus 1. And lastly, I'm just going to check my solution in the other equation. So I substituted into the second equation here. I'm going to check it in the first one. So 5 times x, so remember x was 2, plus 2 times y is minus 1, equals. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, and that equals 8. And that's what we wanted. It should equal 8, so that is correct. So we can walk out of that test knowing we've got that one correct. Here's a second example. Now in this example, we can't straight subtract to get rid of. Here we had 2y minus 2y made us 0. Here that does not work. So what I'm going to do, these are pretty close. This one is just double that one. So I could just double the first equation. Remember, right at the start I said you can multiply an equation by a constant. So I'm going to times that one by 2. So 7x times 2 is 14x. Negative 3y times 2 is negative 6y. And 15 times 2 is 30. Now this time I've got to be a little bit careful, because they've got different signs. Back here they had the same sign, 2y minus 2y. Here if I go 6y minus negative 6y, I wouldn't get 0. But if I add them, 6 plus negative 6, I do get 0. So I would like to add those equations. So I'm now ignoring the first line because I've rewritten that here doubled, and I'm just adding these two. So let's have a look. So 14x plus 5x is 19x. 6y plus negative 6y is 0. That's what I wanted. And here, 57. Now we need to divide by the 19. Now, let's see what that equals. So 19 divided by 19 is gone. I'm just going to get out my calculator and do 57 divided by 19. And that equals exactly 3. Now let's find our y value by putting that back into one of our original equations. So I'm going to put it into the first line. So instead of x, I've got 3. Let's solve that. So 3 7s are 21. Now I need to minus the 21. 21 is positive. It's the 3 that's negative. It's positive 21. I need to minus 21 off each side. So 21 minus 21 is 0. Negative 3y. 15 minus 21 is negative 6. divide by minus 3, because that's minus 3 times y, minus 3 times y, so opposite of times is divide. So we get y equals negative divided by negative is positive, 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now let's just check it in the second equation. So check. So the second equation, I'll just write the equation down again because I can't see it out the top of my camera. So instead of x, we're putting 3. So 5 times 3. Instead of y, we're putting 2. So let's find out. So 15, 6 times 2 is 12, and we do get 27, so that is correct. Okay, one more example. So we've got 4x minus 3y equals 10, and 3x plus 2y equals minus 1. Now in this one, we don't have any numbers that match up well at all. There are none that are equal to each other, and there are none where if you multiply 3 by something you don't get 4, if you multiply 2 by something you don't get 3. So what we have to do here is we actually have to multiply both of them. What I'm going to do is multiply by the opposite thing. We're going to eliminate the x's here. So I'm going to times the first equation times 3 from here, and I'm going to times the second equation times 4 from there. So the first equation times 3, 4x times 3 is 12x. Minus 3y times 3 is minus 9y. 10 times 3 is 30. And the second one times 4, 3x times 4 is 12x. Plus 2 times 4 is plus 8y. And negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. And now the 12x's are the same. Now we need to decide whether to add these or subtract them. If you add them, you'll get 24, and that's not what we want. We want 0. So let's minus them. So 12x minus 12x is 0. Negative 9 minus 8 is negative 17y. And 30 minus negative 4 is the same as 30 plus 4. And divide by the negative 17 so that we can get y on its own. Y is equal, this equals negative 2. You can do that in your calculator. Now let's find x by putting that back into one of our original equations. I'll just put it in the first one. So 4x minus 3 times negative 2 equals, let me just tidy that x up a little bit. Almost wrote a bracket. Equals 10, so that's our original equation. So 4x minus 3 times negative 2 is plus 6 equals 10. Let's minus the 6. So 4x equals 4. Divide by the 4. So x is equal to 1. Now remember, we do have to check it back in the other equation. So I used the first equation here, so I'll check it in the second equation. So I'll just write that second equation again. It was 3x plus 2y equals negative 1. So instead of x, we're putting 1. So 3 times 1 plus 2 times negative 2 for y. Let's see what that equals. So we've got 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And that does equal negative 1. So it is correct. We can walk out of an exam with full marks.